and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things triathlon training related, as well as balancing it with my everyday life as a tax accountant. So there's my first Triathlete intro. We'll see how this video goes. So welcome back. I literally just got done running, as you can tell. So running hairstyle right here. Not what I was actually originally planning to talk about, but I do want to talk about my running hair because I literally change my hair based on what I'm doing. So running, it will either be in a ponytail braid like this, or on occasion I'll do a single French braid, double French braids. But those are kind of my go-to for running because I have really thick hair and it tends to get, if it's in a regular ponytail, it gets a lot of knots and gets really matted. So with this, like, the ends can't really, I mean, they're so short there, they can't really get messed up. And I'm sweating a ton. It's only 85-ish degrees today, so I can't complain that much about the heat. So yeah, that is running hair. Cycling hair is the same except a low ponytail braid. And swimming hair is like a little loop bun, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's put in a ponytail, but then you don't pull like the bottom of the ponytail all the way through. It makes it really easy to put on swim cap. Highly recommend if you haven't. The girls that I used to coach when I coached the non-competitive program at the with the team that I swim masters with, I would teach all of them that trick because it makes it way easier to put a swim cap on. So yeah, just got done running. Clearly got the endorphins going. I have about 19 minutes until I'm leaving for the gym today. I feel like I need to cool off. I probably should have turned on the fan in here. Dog that's sitting here, yeah, there's dog here. That's why I had moved across my couch, is so that he can keep my spot. I'm getting way off topic right now. So yeah, just got done running and I wanted to film some because I felt like it was a good run. And so I know a lot of people, like, what a good run is going to mean something different to everyone. And that's kind of what I wanted to briefly come on and say before I get to the gym. And I meant to charge my GoPro and I didn't, so my upper body day will not be filmed, which I haven't filmed any workouts since I started filming again. So for me, a good run today, so I did it a little bit differently. I'll link the blog post I did down below, just kind of how I am doing my run training right now, because I struggle the most with keeping my heart rate down, and I do believe in kind of that 80-20 polarized training. So 80% of your training is going to be those low heart rate zones, and then 20% you want to really have specific goals, and that's going to be your higher intensity workouts. So for me, I really struggle with my heart rate running, especially because I'm not in any sort of running shape. Even when I was, I struggled with my heart rate. Like, I probably never did a true zone 2 run in my life at that point. So today, still not quite true zone 1, or I mean zone 2, but it went really well. My average heart rate was, and so for perspective, for me, because I have calculated my heart rate zones many times before, my heart rate zone 3 is like right at 160, 161. So today, my average heart rate was 149 and my highest heart rate on the entire run was 165. So that was all really good. I also did something slightly different. So I talk about in my blog post how I was kind of doing like 3 minutes running, 2 minutes walking, so on. And I've also been doing some that are 4 and 2, but I was running in my neighborhood, and the problem I've run into with running in my neighborhood is my heart rate. There's like one hill right at the start of my run, and then I get kind of like a really easy, kind of almost going down a false flat for a little bit, and then I get onto like a concrete sidewalk for a minute, and usually as I get to the middle of that sidewalk, my heart rate goes up, and then especially once I turn into the next neighborhood over, I'm going up a false flat. So my heart rate skyrockets at those points. So I've definitely, when running those sections, had trouble keeping my heart rate down and keeping it controlled. So today what I did was I ran as long as I could in zone 2. So that was about 7 minutes and 22 seconds was where I hit zone 3 for the first time in my entire run. So I was running for that whole time, which felt really good. I did have to slow down my pace. I pay a lot of attention to my breathing. And then after that, I went to a pattern of, and my goal was hopefully to stay in zone 2 a little bit more. But my pattern was basically, I told myself either I'm going to do 3 and 2 until I kind of get back close to my house, or if I could keep my heart rate low, I was going to run until I hit zone 3 and then walk for 2 minutes and then repeat that. So it did end up being 3 and 2 the whole time. I never managed to keep my heart rate in zone 2, but I did feel like it went really well, so that's why I wanted to come on briefly and start this next video talking about that run as I head into this weekend. I have time with Kat, well, I guess not the weekend, it is only Thursday, and I've got a ton of work to do, but I have time with Kat's planned Saturday, and I have biking planned Sunday, so I am really looking forward to getting through work tomorrow and getting on to these next 2 days. And I will catch up with you at some point, probably not tonight just because I'm eating microwave food for dinner, and probably gonna do a little bit of work before I go to bed. All right, it is, what is today? It is Friday now. I woke up this morning thinking it was Saturday at one point, so that's how my day went. And I am extremely busy with work. I'm probably actually gonna have to work some tomorrow. I just wanted to jump on and talk about the strength workout I didn't manage to film. Actually, 2 strength workouts I didn't manage to film because my GoPro is dead, and I feel weird, like, in my old, like, same gym, but the old location was smaller, and it was always just me and my personal trainer. New one, there's more frequently other people there, and I'm not self-conscious about my hair, but I am self-conscious about filming, and honestly, all you missed was a really ugly squat. Excuse me, dog. Would you like to come sit with me? Do you want to be on camera? I'm right here. Oh, that's a good boy. You listen to your mom. So, Deagle wants to be on camera too, apparently. Yeah, so the weird thing is, my personal trainer, so I might have mentioned before, I had to write my own workouts because she is traveling, well, she was in peak week for her bodybuilding competition, and she was actually traveling yesterday too. So I had to write my own workouts so I can kind of talk through how I structured them for once. I wish I had gym footage to show. So yesterday we do every week an upper body day, lower body day, and then alternate weeks on the upper body days if it's push or pull. My preference is the pull day. I like working back a lot better than working chest. So I try to hit a combination of both single arm and double, and like unilateral and bilateral movements. I feel like this one definitely ended up being more unilateral just because I was having, like, I have a bad shoulder. It did weird stuff. So I did and so I didn't want to do a lat pull. So this shoulder kind of hyperextends. I don't want to do it right now because it's been bothering me. It hyperextends one above my head. So because of that, I have to keep it really controlled on a lat pull. So I didn't want to do that this week, even though I do it a lot. So I did a barbell row. So that was hitting more of my lats. And then I did a close grip seated row to kind of hit mid back. And then I hit lats again with a straight arm pull down. So the row was kind of heavier, and then I did the straight arm pull down a little bit lighter with higher reps. And then what else did I do? I feel like I got like quite a few things in yesterday, and I don't usually get as many. Oh, I did face pulls, so I hit a lot of rear delt on that because I've always had trouble hitting those. And then some bicep curls. I did them seated where you're on an incline to kind of hit the biceps a little bit differently because your elbow is going to be sitting behind you. And then I superset with a little bit of core work. I think that was it. I might have done more for all I know. I feel like I thought I did more mid-back than I did. But I guess I didn't. And then today was my leg day. And like I said, you would have seen some ugly squats because I was going for, I wanted to do sets of 6 with 135. So I have no idea where my last clip cut off. So I think I was talking about strength training and just kind of like how I structured my 2 workouts I had to write this past week. It's Sunday now, and I was filming on Friday after I did legs, and my camera died. So I just kind of was like, well, whatever, had to find the charger, and I also actually wanted to charge my GoPro at some point, so I just never got around to charging it that day. So we're gonna unbox some stuff. Bought a blender, and it's like a cute little small blender. To find this, I literally searched on the internet best personalized or personal size blenders. Okay, and knife is moving next to me so the cat doesn't slice himself on it, because I hate the protein powder. I think this is off center. I'm just not gonna mess with it right now because cat, dog. I hate the protein powder I bought. I was so excited for the flavor. Like, I really thought it was gonna be good. And I tried just like a plain protein shake with water that night, or like the night after, and it was not even remotely good. So that's where I ended up on the protein, but I was like, and I'm like sitting at a weird angle too. So I ended up being like, oh, well, I have bananas. So I can just make it, like, I'm sure bananas will make it better because bananas always make stuff better. So I was just like, you know what, I am going to get a blender because I wanted to get a blender anyway. And I am going to make peanut butter banana protein smoothies. So that's where we are now. I have a banana in the freezer. Probably not gonna make one today, just because I had a big lunch. I rode my bike today, so you can see the Jason's deli bag sitting in the background. And they gave me a bonus cookie. I haven't eaten the bonus cookie yet because I didn't really like want a second cookie when I was eating it. Like, I'm still like, it's 5:16 now. Like, it's been probably like over 3 hours since I ate, and like I'm just not hungry still, so didn't exactly need the bonus cookie today, but it's pretty cool that they gave me an extra cookie. Blender seems easy to use, like, and I say it seems easy, like, let's see. Oh, I think it's one, okay. So here's where I am on technology. I haven't bought a blender since college. I did have a blender at one point, but I think this is one, like, I set it on and then I think you press, and that's how it works. So this is the size. I looked at a bunch. I looked at a NutriBullet one, and I looked at Vitamix, I think, popped up, and a bunch of other brands, and just this one seemed like, price-wise, this one seemed reasonable. It came with, I actually didn't realize it came with a second one. It does come with a second, like, canister and lid, so that's good for me because we know how I feel about dishes. And so yeah, I will show the smoothie once I figure it out, because everything also seems to be calling for Greek yogurt, and I'm like, the whole point of the protein smoothie is I wanted like something that is mostly protein. That's the entire purpose for me. And it just seems like a lot of them add other stuff. Like, obviously I was planning to add like banana and a little bit of like non-fat milk, because my issue is that like my fat intake's really high. Sorry, my nose really itches. And so I'm just gonna have to try and figure that out. Dog's gonna freak out now just because I am talking to the camera. He was laying under my feet before because it is about to start storming here. So I will catch up with you later. All right, so we're gonna make the peanut butter banana smoothie I was talking about, I think yesterday. And when somebody tells you, cut up the banana, then freeze it, listen. So I've got basically one whole medium banana. And then we're gonna do some milk, which I am running out of milk. It is Fairlife non-fat milk because I don't like milk with fat in it. How do they measure milk? They say liters. What the hell? Like, I don't know. Can I unit? Pounds, ounces, milliliters. This is milliliters. And so I want to do half a cup, so that's going to be 120 milliliters. I didn't think was a measurement on here. I don't know, that seems like a lot. Is the recipe I'm going off of, it said like a cup of milk, and I kind of want this to be pretty thick though. So I did like half a cup of milk. Probably should have put the protein powder in before this point. Clearly, I've done this before. But you know, always room for improvement. The annoying thing is this actually smells really good. Just like for a little bit of extra, like hopefully good peanut butter flavor. I found these in my pantry today. I didn't actually even realize I had them. I actually love them. So, 15. Perfect. So, I hope this turns out good now that I've gone to the trouble of like putting all this together. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of a banana. And I did figure out before I turn this on, I'm going to freak out a dog here in just a second. The blender is like you just push it down. Okay, and I also forgot other things that I meant to add to this. Just check the consistency, and we're gonna add a little bit more flavor. Consistency looks really good. Oh shit. Excuse my language. I just accidentally poured part of it. Taste is good too. Very banana-y. I don't recommend taking off the lid and then closing it again. This has definitely not gone well and it's kind of making a mess. Maybe I should have rinsed off the lid, but we're here. That was just some vanilla and vanilla and cinnamon. All right, so I'm going to take it out. Okay, yeah, that made a mess. Drop the blender into the sink, like the blender part of it. And then the blender came with like these little drinking lids. And I like a lid with my drinks. I drink out of a Yeti all day because I haven't like joined all like Gen Z and their Stanley cups. God, I sound like probably my parents when I say that, like making comments about younger generations. Actually, my parents never talked like that. I just tend to complain like that. So, once this is clean enough to drink out of, I think I did a good job. I'm not even looking at the camera. But considering the fact that I still hate the taste of the protein and will probably never drink it on its own, I think I did pretty well. So I'm gonna go enjoy my dog's after dinner walk, go for a run, and then come back and cook dinner. All right, we are headed to go run, headed out the door in a second. I'm just gonna try and show like the whole running outfit, but I'm not gonna adjust my camera now, so this is what you get to see. This tank top's from like when I was 21, maybe even 20. So it's old. It's from like right around the time they changed the waistband of Nike Pro shorts. If anyone remembers that, I still hate the newer ones, or at least the last ones I bought. So yeah, I'm gonna go run. I'm gonna test out my new Lululemon. I was gonna test out the new Lululemon like slim fanny pack, but actually I'm not. I thought about listening to music because I'm not super motivated. Like if I wanted to run at home, like it was not gonna happen today. Just doing a recovery run, my legs are actually still somehow sore from strength training on Friday, and it's Monday right now. Like they just felt like dead weight on Saturday. I waited until Saturday afternoon to try and run, and they just felt like dead weight. Like it did not go well. They were super sore from my bike ride, so maybe I overdid it a little on Friday. So I'm just gonna go run for 25 to 30 minutes, easy pace. Easy pace for me has been, I don't want to give exact numbers. I mean, it's still, you can find me on Strava. But it's basically been like, I was able to, a couple times now, I talked about it earlier, run for up to like 7 minutes at once at the start of my run while staying in zone 2, but then after that my heart rate definitely jumps out of it. So probably gonna go by the same plan today. If I get lucky, maybe I'll manage to stay in zone 2 a little bit more because it is a lot nicer out today. It's only a high of 77, not very humid, so hopefully that'll work out in my favor, but we'll see. I'm gonna get to the greenway and then I'll do my hair in its braid once I get there. Well, excuse my lighting and this nice shadow on half my face. I guess if I open like, no, curtains open, never mind. There's no way to get better light. Well, there might be, but I'm too lazy. So I am back from running and we're gonna play Let's Talk About My Run and like everything else in the world while I make dinner. The same dinner you've probably seen me make like 6 times now, because one thing anyone who works full time, oh dang, I spilled a lot of protein powder, or just has like a generally busy schedule. So I mean, I try not to reserve being busy for just people that have a traditional 9-to-5 job like me, especially after I watched a couple content creators talking about just how much goes into some of their videos. What was I saying? Oh, that's why I like sometimes like you realize like this is the only time you have to actually get something done is when you're cooking dinner, or like you might just find that time of day that like this is when you can do something. I mean, it can be the same way for training. I know a lot of people, like including myself, I used to be one of them, like I was trained at, this is an awkward angle because my head's chopped off. Like I was trained at 5 in the morning because 5 in the morning was when I had time. Obviously now I have like a slightly different schedule. 5 in the morning is still actually very convenient. I just have a lot of sleep issues. So that's why I end up filming at dinner. But my run actually, and I want to get into the run because that's what I really want to talk about. My run went absolutely fantastic today. And when I say absolutely fantastic, like I don't think it could have gone better considering my current fitness. So I went to Brentwood because it's flat and it's easier for me to control my heart rate there than it is to run near my house. Also the flat puts less strain on my calf muscles, which I do have issues with thanks to, well, my left one. I have plantar fasciitis in that foot. So Brentwood's just a better place to run overall for that. So I went out, I had planned like 25 to 30 minutes, like goal to stay as close to zone 2 as possible. And then basically once I hit like really hitting zone 3, I'm dropping vegetables on the ground. Once I really hit zone 3, the plan was to then like do 4 minutes run, 2 minutes walk, which I have done a handful of times recently. Well, I've been doing that for the most part recently anyway. So started my run. I hit zone 3 like suddenly in like right around minute 6, but at that point there's like a very small, false flat. So that was kind of to be expected. So I really just focused on my breathing to bring my heart rate back down and was able to bring it down without walking. And I don't mean like, oh, I just like barely got back into zone 2. Like, no, I was all the way down to like 2.5. So that was really good for me. Then same thing, I had another little false flat around like 10 minutes in and it was at like 3.7. So I was like, okay, I've got to walk, like this just might be the cutoff of where I got to switch to that like 4 and 2. But from there on out, I was actually, so at the 12-minute point, I started running again. And I actually was able to run all the way until I think I stopped right around 33 minutes. So that's over 20 minutes of running in zone 2 with a little bit of kind of, again, those false flats and stuff. I might hit zone 3, but I really worked on focusing on breathing in order to bring my heart rate back down. So that was actually overall a really good run for me. And I am out of breath talking. So yeah, overall, like that was really good. I haven't kind of felt like I've done that well on a run recently. The downside was, I mean, it was super slow. And when I say super slow, like literally, I think I can walk literally as fast as I was running. But the reason like I run and I don't just walk, even though the paces are probably similar, is that you do use your muscles slightly differently in the two. So I try to make sure I'm running as much as possible. And so yeah, it was a really good run. I I have more things to talk about, but I'm getting out of breath just talking, and I need to finish cooking dinner. All right, dinner is cooking. It's 7:51 at night, so I finished chopping up the Brussels sprouts, cut my asparagus, threw that in the oven for 15 minutes. Then I just added 3 ounces of mushrooms to that. And then while the asparagus and Brussels sprouts were in the oven the first 15 minutes, I made my quiche for the next week or so because I want to take it to work for lunch tomorrow. It's going to technically be backup lunch because we have like we have interns that start today, so we're supposed to go meet and be nice. Not that I would be mean to the interns, it's just I think that my industry basically doesn't give interns a realistic expectation of what our job is like sometimes, especially summer interns, because we only have them for like a month. So now that I've gotten completely off topic talking about my job, let's wrap up the video. So I was talking about my run and how I felt like even though it was slow, it went really well. So it was actually my slowest pace I've gone, but I stayed in my goal heart rate zone, and I definitely feel like I could have done that for about 30 minutes given the way I was feeling today. Which the funny thing is, I actually, according to my Garmin, I was in -2 form. I've gone as far as -6 before after doing like a long ride on the weekend, so nothing new to me there. But it was just kind of funny to see that pop up, like, oh, you're -2. And I'm like, okay, but I'm feeling pretty good. Like, my heart rate's where it should be. So that probably influenced, honestly, I could have probably gone faster and stayed in the same heart rate zone if it weren't for the level of fatigue I probably currently am experiencing. So talking about running and kind of what I wanted to touch on as far as running here at the end. So I'm gonna pull up my last 2 runs. So let's look at today to start. So I ran for 33 minutes, 28 seconds, 15:05 pace, 2.22 miles. Average speed was literally like right at 15-minute miles. Run time 31:34, walk time 1:52. Average heart rate of 53. So that's kind of the key thing that I wanted to point out, was average heart rate of 53. And then also, again, zone 2 training, like it's not just about the average, it's also about being in that zone 2 heart rate zone for the majority of your training. So max heart rate of 166. For reference, the zones that I've calculated for myself, because everyone's heart rate zones are different, mine's based on both my maximum and resting heart rate. So my maximum heart rate was 166, and zone 3 for me starts about 159. So that's actually really good for me. And overall, like, I'm really happy with the way this run went. The other important thing I did want to point out though is the weather. So the average temperature was 79 on this run. And then, so if we go to the calendar, this is all Garmin Connect app, because as I have told people, I am a Garmin user, literally because that is the first like thing I got was my Garmin. Well, the other day it somehow thought my shower was swimming, so that's weird, but cool. So let's see, on Saturday I did 30 minutes 22 seconds 2 miles, like literally I was running in the exact same place with an average pace of 14:58, so just slightly faster. Average speed looks the same, but then you go down further. So run time 23:14, walk time 7:08. Average heart rate was 157. So somebody who doesn't know anything else about this run, based on the speed and average heart rate, might say that these 2 runs are pretty much the same. But then if you look at my max heart rate was 173. I pretty much was going into upper zone 3 every single time I was running again on this one. Didn't really get into zone 4 at least, so everything was aerobic, but people call zone 3 kind of like no man's land. Like, it's really, you're not going to benefit from it as much as zone 2. My cadence was actually slower. That's interesting. And the last thing I want to look at, that's the last thing I want to touch on this, is the average temperature was 90 and the minimum temperature was 88. So between those 2 runs, the 2 variables that changed, one, I'm actually probably more, even though my legs are less sore, they're definitely sore. Even though they're less sore though, I'm definitely more fatigued today than I was on Saturday, which is one of the things that actually makes me really happy with the way this run turned out. And if you keep seeing my lighting change, that is my ceiling fan. It's having some issues with one of the light bulbs, and I don't own a ladder, so it just continues to do that. So getting myself back on topic here. I definitely was more fatigued today because of my bike ride yesterday, but I feel like the run actually went better in terms of my heart rate, and I feel like it was a better representation of my capability just in terms of keeping my heart rate down and having improved some over the last few weeks because I was able to stay in that zone 2 heart rate. I wrote about kind of how I've changed my running training to focus on zone 2 to be able to build up endurance before I actually incorporate any speed work. And so I feel like I should within the next couple weeks based on today, because I probably could have done the full 30 minutes without taking that walk break and stayed mostly in zone 2. I feel like I'm in a good spot that probably next week I might begin adding some speed work depending on how recovered I'm feeling. The other thing I want to touch on was the weather. So again, it was 90 degrees when I was running on Saturday. It was also humid, and today it wasn't very humid and it was 77. So while I was fatigued, I was able to control my heart rate better, and that was probably actually the biggest thing that influenced it was the heat. So even though today went really great, I'll, for my zone 2 runs, continue using this pattern for them going forward, just because I know, like, and by this pattern I mean kind of like that 4 on 2 off, just because I know it's really important that I do keep my heart rate down. I know some people like to say, oh, well, it's zone 2 pace, and that is not me. I do not believe in using pace to determine my zones. I have done that, like, I've done perceived exertion, which I actually think can be better than pace if you truly know what zone 2 is. And I think there's a lot of misconception. A lot of people are just like, oh, it's aerobic. But no, it's low aerobic. So zone 2, you should be able to carry on a conversation with someone without much effort, where zone 3, you'll start to have more difficulty communicating, and then zone 4, you probably can't talk. Zone 5, you're talking in tongues. So I think when it comes to, excuse the cat, like, he's just needy. So I think when it comes to zone 2 training, it's just really important to approach it with purpose. So that's the first thing. Like, for me, it is like, because I know how important it is for my current training, that's one of the reasons I think I've been more successful with it. And then I also think it is important to approach it with the proper understanding of zone 2 and knowing how you're going to determine that. So for me, I would say the best one is heart rate for running, if you're biking, heart rate or power. And then if you don't have those, I would say perceived, what's RPE? Rate of perceived exertion, but basically just how you feel. So understand it. The other option I would say that's best, that I personally would use over using like a pace, would be using perceived exertion, because if you can build a good understanding of that, you're going to be more, I think you'll be more successful at staying in zone 2, where pace may be influenced by a lot of other things. So I talked today a little bit about, obviously I just talked about the weather, but I also mentioned when going uphill, my heart rate was jumping up. And I was trying to slow down for those false flats. It was just, I mean, it's tough because I'm running so slow to begin with. So I just think that it is, oh my gosh, it's 8 o'clock. I just want to make that clear that there's a lot that influences it. So if you are going to try zone 2 training, just make sure you have a good understanding of what zone 2 is. I did have a couple other things I want to talk about, but you know what? This video is getting really long. So I am, like I said before, trying to wrap it up. I know this has definitely been some sporadic filming over the last few days. My goal is to actually at some point take you through a full day with me, start to finish. Obviously my work day is pretty boring. One of the things I wanted to kind of showcase though today is a little bit of how weird the food I eat ends up being, because I'm pescatarian, but I know I need carbs for training, and I love carbs. I also love fats, but I do also know I need protein to support muscle recovery, as well as to keep me from losing muscle during my training. So that was why I wanted to show kind of how weird my lunch was today, especially because I'm fatigued. I feel like the extra protein definitely should help, just with like the muscle fatigue, and like I said, my legs are still sore, And then also the protein shake, which which wasn't bad. I think I want to try it, like, if I was gonna have it as a meal, I have some Peanut Butter and Company chocolate peanut butter in my pantry, and I feel like that would really make it good. But like, I was on the phone with my mom and I had to explain to her, like, this was supposed to be a snack, so that's why I didn't want to add like a bunch of actual peanut butter, because I'm like, that kind of defeats the point of like getting in a high protein, low fat snack today. So that was the whole point of the protein shake. I drank the whole thing. With everything I put in it, it was like above that 16-ounce line. So next time I'll probably like not even add the water and just add the ice. But that was good. I hope you found something helpful or entertaining or useful, or even just you like getting to see Kramer in all my videos. If you do like the cat or the dog or something I said, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, and I will see you in the next one.